Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and we are back with the finale of season 1 of The Runaways. Yes, it's hard to believe we are finally here. I did not expect the gem this show is going to turn out to be, but it has been so much fun watching it. And I'm a little sad that it's going to be over, but I suppose it kind of works because next week The Flash and the Black Lightning are coming, which is a new show that I'm going to be reacting to. So my schedule is going to fill up again steadily as all my shows start coming back from hiatus. But I really did enjoy this show, and I am looking forward to the finale because we left last week at a pretty sweet place. We were down to what may be a mini battle royale between the parents and the kids. The veil is now gone. Everybody knows what everyone's up to. Thanks to Jonah, well actually thanks to Frank, spilling the beans to Jonah, who in turn told the parents, hey listen, y'all kids are out of control. What are you gonna do? Go handle it. And the kids were basically trying to sabotage the drill at the school because they figured out that whatever's going on with that drill is part of the big plan of whatever Pride's doing. But more importantly, that there is a fault that this drill is going to end up hitting at some point that will cause catastrophic earthquakes throughout California and possibly beyond. So they just wanted to, at the very least, stop the drill from happening and then figure out what to do about their parents and Pride later. But then we saw that Nico was in the midst of trying to cover the hole back up, and that's when the parents showed up and mayhem ensued because the parents obviously, they're going to realize that their kids are not going to be able to be talked down to or talked out of the way they might have been, when they were younger. And also they discovered a few secrets amongst the children, namely that Molly's got something going on with her eyes and that Carolina is shining bright like a diamond. It's going to be interesting. This episode, I feel like Jonah's going to show up and that he's going to have his own way of dealing with things. We haven't yet seen, I know that Jonah's threatened everybody with this video evidence, but there's got to be something else that really makes people scared of Jonah, and I feel like this might be the episode where we get a taste of why Jonah is so feared amongst this group. I also have a theory about Jonah and Frank, and I'm not going to share it now because I want to get into the video, but I have a theory. Well, actually, I guess I should do it really quick. I think Jonah made a very interesting comment last week, which I didn't get to really talk about, where he said to Frank, you're going to make a great leader of the group. And while I don't believe for a second that Jonah would hand over the control of Pride to Frank, especially after the dunderhead he's been. So my guess is that Jonah is planning to potentially move consciousness, there we go, and maybe take over Frank's body, and that Frank will become the new Jonah. I hope you understood what that meant, but I might be completely off. But I just thought about that after I watched it last week, and I was like, something's about to go down. But anyways, enough talk. Let's get into this. This is the finale. We're probably going to have a lot to talk about when it's all said and done, so boom. Yes, Molly. Yes, Chase. I'm not sure what the glowing is going to do. Oh.
Not Gert. All right, she's just a regular kid.
Hi, old lace.
That could have only come from one place.
Didn't mean to bring you all up to speed on that.
I got this.
FYI.
No!
Who just hit her? What the hell was that? I knew it! Now we see what Jonah can do. No more toys. Jonah's pissed. What is this moment right now? Oh, the regrouping.
Okay, you can't do this alone. Go.
I think y'all should go. Y'all need to work on the team up.
Nico, go.
It's a little weak.
Go.
It's a little weak. It's gonna be a dance-off. He's forgetting, though, that Carolina's significantly younger than him. Come on, Carolina. Be a smart girl. Use that shit and send it right back. That's it. Ooh! Would you look at this Harry Potter moment? dinosaur's like, well, damn.
Guys!
Could you yell any louder? Jeez.
Go, 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 go.
I just saw how the old lace's like, what's going on? I mean, it's adjusting to outdoor life pretty well, considering it's only been outside for the first time of its life for like, what, a day? Look at these kids acting like it's the journey of a lifetime. It's California, okay? Rich kid problems. Poor Alex is about 2 seconds from singing a slave spiritual.
In her place, I'd want you guys to go.
Well, if it was you in her place, we would. But it's not.
Well, damn, Nico.
It's Carolina.
Savage.
And how do we know that Jonah isn't her father, too?
Alice.
Damn.
It's a
Exactly.
miracle that Lois.
Tina, what do you know?
Yeah, Tina. Ew, they have her in that gross mask. I hope they washed all that milk out of it first. Ugh.
I raised her. She loves me, and he loves whatever the hell's in that hole. He was going to hurt her to protect it.
You don't understand.
Dirty joke. I'm not gonna do it.
Do you?
She's safe with me.
Yeah, exactly. No one believes that.
She wakes up.
Yeah, Leslie. Even with your wiles, you never had that much control over Frank, have you?
Talk about what?
Well, when we found you at the dance last night, you reeked of hookup.
Yeah. What sort did you?
Touche.
Not really flying under the radar. Alex said undercover, not invisible.
She's so cute.
I saw several grown men urinating. I had to stop a fist fight between two shoeless meth heads fighting over an empty cottage cheese container. Oh, and if you want a tour of Star's homes,
I
or
love
catch
that
up
he
with
used the
Easter,
term urinating.
yeah.
You are so bougie, Alex.
I'll
Oh, Lice is like, this is just some bull. Like, I had your back. They tranked me, yo.
Every day I come to work at the church is a day I feel at home. The Deans are my family.
We ain't got time for a sermon, son. Just tell us where the girl
My
is.
life together when
Can you please take that off? God, probably smells like his face. But
But I think you know the truth. I'm your father.
No. It's not true. That's impossible.
So I guess Jonah keeps secrets from you too.
you wasn't nothing but a baby mama, Leslie. So sorry. Not.
They are special indeed. Leslie will be very happy.
What the hell are
You're
these
about to meet
things?
someone who will change.
Holy hive mind. That is creepy.
now I'm freaking out. Yep, I'm walking away. Walking away and pretending I did not bring the monster into my life.
That's right, son. Okay, if that EMP thing happens again, though, Chase. Oh, yeah. That's cool. Jonah be light.
What did you see?
This plan is ill-conceived. I don't like it. It's making me nervous. Do any of these kids actually know how to make a fire? And do they realize there's a fire ban in pretty much all of California right now?
How does something this big go undetected for so long, let alone survive?
Because this drill didn't exist until, like, yesterday?
Version of living.
I wonder if Alex maybe called the gangster. Instead, that Davis guy. I knew it!
We have a common enemy. And we need to do something about it.
Weren't you making out with that enemy like 2 weeks ago?
With the enemy. He's been using all of us.
You think?
No shit.
Oh, you are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
What could be worse than murder? Did Tina not know about?
When Amy
Damn!
first from her. Well, I know I got it right away. So did Jonah.
tapes. I don't think so.
The tea?
It just happened.
The murder of a child just happened. Tina, please. One good hit. Just one. Come on. Give it to her.
We killed you tonight in this basement. No, I know. But then you wouldn't be able to get close enough to kill Jonah. And that's why we're all here.
Crap. She's right. But just slap her, though. You know, you wouldn't be so hot, Nico, if you took off all that black. I'm just saying.
The LAPD is calling it a homicide. Anyone with news regarding this case should contact the police immediately.
Holy shit.
Well, damn. In the LA heat. I'm sorry, every time I see old lace, I can't. It's so funny. Can't just leave it like that. Okay. Well. I'm a menace with a pen. Like, I can't even. So that was the finale, my understanding of this season of Marvel's Runaways, and it was called Hostile, episode 10, and I think it was good. I feel like I could have had a little bit bigger of a cliffy to end the season on, but it's not bad. I feel like they ended the season, because obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, I learned watching an interview with Greg Sulkin, who plays Chase, a little while ago, that apparently the episodes were all ready to go. Like, they'd been filmed and edited and all that good stuff for the most part, and it was ready to go by November or September, somewhere in there. But there was some sound issues and some that was my pen again. I don't know what is wrong with me today. There were some post issues, and because of that, they decided to release them weekly, because I guess they were actually going to release them as a binge watchable series, but it didn't happen. But long story short, all of that to say that the show did not know if they were going to get a second season at that point, obviously, because it wasn't released slowly the way you typically would other shows, where you release a few episodes, check the ratings, see how things are going, and then typically get the green light maybe somewhere in the middle. And that gives writers time to go back and maybe make tweaks and change the arc up a little bit, so that it could be, you know, a bigger, longer stretch of story. So anyway, Runaways didn't have that luxury. They filmed it all, probably just the idea of, okay, maybe we'll get picked up for a season 2, but if we don't, let's wrap things up to a point where people will be fairly satisfied with what they get. So that's kind of why I felt like it has ended. Like, you're definitely hungry for more, but it's okay that it ended here. So into some of the highlights of the episode. How we had the face-off, right? Everyone tried to get together, and I kind of like how they did things on the kids' side, where, you know, they very much tried to Avengers Assemble, but never fought before, never had to fight before, really. And just the fact that the dynamics of the team were all over the place. Like, sadly, I mean, as I think I mentioned in the last video, Alex doesn't really have any powers, so I mean, unless the kid has got a couple of, you know, good dance moves there, he's not going to be able to do much. Carolina is still very much learning about what she is. So again, I don't even know if she knows that there's anything offensive she can do with her powers. I mean, we saw her shoot some light at Davis a few weeks back, but it seemed like it didn't really hurt him so much as just kind of like getting his eyes, if anything else. And then we have Gert, who still doesn't really know anything. Like, she's never used Old Lace offensively either, right? She had no reason to up until now. So I like that these kids weren't like perfect fighting machines right out of the gate, right? That, you know, they try to attack, and then of course, you know, we got Tina ready with the protection spells and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of like that right off the bat, these kids are gotten a big wake-up call that they can't just go up against their parents, at least in combat at this point, because they're teenagers. They've never had to do this. They're not seasoned at this type of thing. And the parents really don't want to hurt the kids either. So I mean, it was really going to be a corralling if it hadn't been for Jonah showing up. But that's the kind of the part that is a little bit weird to me, which kind of leads to the face-off between Jonah and Carolina. Like, it just felt weird that he just shows up. You know, I mean, I like that we got to see, like I predicted last week, that Jonah was going to be the one who was going to show Carolina and show us as the audience really the capabilities of Carolina's powers as far as being offensive. I knew it had to be more than just her being, you know, a rainbow bright. Like there had to be something else there and a reason why everyone's kind of afraid of Jonah. And now we kind of see why. Clearly, he can use his abilities to hurt people. So now the group, you know, both the parents and the kids know that Jonah is A, not human, and B, that he's powerful in some way, and if they're not careful, they could probably die before they'd be able to hurt him. So that was all well and established, fine, but the whole face-off with Carolina felt a bit strange because I just feel like, you know, the fact that he even tried to talk to Carolina, especially since he made such a big deal to Leslie, like how many episodes ago, about how he's never really got to meet her and spend time with her and how he really wants to establish this relationship. So you'd think that the first thing he'd be trying to do in this situation was try to use this new thing as a, like what we saw when she was recovering in the creepy white room, that, you know, I would have expected that with Carolina first, not just basically facing off against her almost full blast. But that's something else we learned as well, is that whatever it is that Carolina and Jonah can do, it has something to do with energy, because apparently when it finally exploded or one of them gave out, I'm assuming Carolina's must have given out, it caused an EMP that wiped out power for, it looks like, at least a block or so. The parents finally getting their come to Jesus was very refreshing as well. We really got, in the episode where Victor was shot, we started to see, you know, how dysfunctional and how fragile the relationship between the parents was. And now this episode kind of reinforced why it's so fragile. Not only because it was like, you know, a group that was built on the fear of being exposed, but there's secrets within secrets and little cliques, and people don't really trust each other. And we finally got to kind of see a clear picture of just how fragmented the group was as far as loyalties, because that's always been kind of hinted at in the earlier episodes, but they never really called it out loud. But now we saw 100% that Leslie was absolutely kind of the super secret ringleader of all of it. You know, she thought she had the inside track where Jonah was concerned. She thought she knew more than everybody else in this group. She thought she had secret favor with Jonah. She was banging the boss, right? So she thought she was up here while everybody else was a worker bee down here. And she came to a very abrupt realization in this episode that she is right there with the worker bees. And, you know, he kind of made it very clear that his only interest is in Carolina. It looks like Jonah and Carolina are the only two of that kind on Earth, or at least in this area. So that's a very interesting reveal, and something that's very different from the comics. Now that Jonah has Carolina, it looks like, you know, now that she knows what she is and she knows what he is, I think his hope is that he can build a relationship with her and just kind of basically be with her, and, you know, everybody else is dispensable to him for the most part at this point. So very interesting there, but I thought it was very interesting with the parents to finally get all the lies are out of the way now. All the secrets are out of the way now. They're finally going to work together truly as a team, because they all now even Leslie is on the page of realizing that, holy crap, we're all being used. And I thought it was so funny, that little moment where she's like, we're all being used by Jonah. And like, the Yorkses were like, duh, like, hello, just because you were sleeping with them, you were a little blind, but like, we weren't stigmatized. We knew exactly what was happening. We don't want to be here. It blows my mind that Leslie was that oblivious. You know, like, I think even Tina knew that not everybody wanted to be there in this group. But anyway, now they all know, and oh my God, the reveal about, finally, the mystery of Tina, which was kind of also the overarching theme of this season, has finally been put to rest. Tina was indeed killed by Jonah, and it wasn't until after I watched the episode again from last week, and that's when it hit me. I was like, you know what? I think it was Jonah, because whoever was standing there, I saw was the shoulder was definitely in a suit, and it looked like a pinstripe suit, and that's all we've seen Jonah in since he's basically been on screen. Very interesting that Leslie was the one to text and try to help her, but wow, like wow, I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming, and I did not think that Tina did. I always thought Tina was a part of that. I thought her because especially seeing what happened, the fact that she locked the house down, called their inner circle cop and all that, that really, to me, came off as, okay, Tina knows what's going on. But so I guess I have to take back a little bit of how cold-hearted I thought that Tina is. Clearly, she's not quite that cold-hearted. She did not actually engineer the death of her own daughter, which is good. I'm glad to hear that she wasn't that cold. That was crazy. That was a crazy moment there that I was not expecting. So, but anyways, all the secrets are out on the table, with the exception, of course, as we saw with the Wilders. They are outside of this right now. It sounds like Papa Wilder does not want to work with the group anymore. He just wants to get his kid back and get out of Dodge. I don't know how it's going to work. Like, I feel like the Wilders will be pulled back into the fold because they have to be, right? This is not going to work with Jonah if there's one loose end in this circle. But very interesting on how they're trying to kind of create this, the battle going forward here. Because in the comics, the Wilders are kind of this wild card, no pun intended, in the comics, because Alex, as we know in the comics, he knew about the Pride and everything that was going on long before the rest of the group did, and he actually believed in the whole Gibberum thing and actually wanted to work with his parents to save himself, his parents, and Nico's family as well. But here in the show, it's a little bit different in that obviously the biggest difference being that the parents are actually innocents, and they didn't go into this thinking we want to sacrifice children for our own personal gain. They just sadly didn't look a gift horse in the mouth, and it turned out to be a gift from the devil. And now they've been doing the devil's, dirty work for a long time. So I was wondering how they were going to go about things now that the parents were not actual supervillains in this one in the truest of senses. And also because it seemed like Alex, and this is one thing, I just want to kind of go on a side note here, because I know a lot of people, especially when I was feeling bad for Alex the last couple episodes of how Nico was being towards him, I know a lot of people were like, oh, Alex is a jerk, Alex is evil, oh, why are you so nice to him? I'm taking the show at the face value of what they're presenting to us as an audience. I watched a fantastic video online. I cannot remember the name of the gentleman, but it gives a summary of the entirety of the Runaways series, and he does it in about 15-20 minutes, which is amazing for me, who's not read the comics. And I understand what Alex did. I know that in the comics, Alex was not a great person, and he did a really, really awful thing, which he paid the ultimate price for. But the show is obviously not going strict to text. It's not going strictly from panel to screen on this show. They're definitely taking the comics as a baseline and a lot from it, but they've already made a lot of deviations as far as motivations and the character plot. And I think some of that has to do with the fact that comics don't always translate directly to TV well, but also because the comic was written back in the early 2000s and a lot's changed. It's kind of crazy, but especially in the world of technology and things like that, a lot has changed since the early 2000s to now. So with that in mind, I'm not going to assume that Alex or any of these characters are going to be 100% exactly like their characters from the books. With Alex at this point, we have no reason to believe that Alex was privy to anything with the Pride, with the exception, of course, of the weirdness around Amy's death. We have no reason to believe that he's been hiding anything along the side, the lengths of what he was doing in the comics so far. Not to mention the fact that the big gaping change in this show as well is that there's no Gibberum. The Gibberum are a thing in the comics. They're these, large cartoonish gods that the parents have actually interfaced with. We have had no mention of them outside of the name of the church. There's been no mention of any type of life force. Now, of course, whatever they're digging into that hole for, we may see something different in season 2. But as it stands, there is no Gibberum. There is no utopia. There is none of the stuff that was promised in the comic has come to light so far in the show. So with all of that in mind, it's, again, fair to just assume for now that Alex genuinely is a decent kid who kept a secret, which was incredibly heavy for a 14 or 15-year-old to be carrying. And yes, he probably should have told Nico, but I still feel like Nico's being a little unnecessarily hard on him. Anyway, that was just my whole thing about Alex. But yeah, so with that, you know, it just, that's why I at this moment, I feel a bit sorry for Alex. I think Alex is feeling a little isolated for a number of reasons right now. And now that we have the Wilders kind of deciding to break from the group and break from everything potentially, this, I think, is the way the show might be looking to have Alex break away from the group and possibly go against them. So like I said, in the comics, we know that Alex did it because he knew about the Pride and he had made his own side deal, you know, with the idea of keeping his family safe, you know, from the Gibberum. But here, since the Gibberum don't seem to be a thing, it might be that his parents, their desire to break away from Pride and go to war against Jonah and everything else, that Alex might want to join that cause. And since the rest of the kids are at a place right now where they don't trust their parents at all and have no desire to work with them, that could be the dividing chasm between them. Also along the lines of going off comic, in the comics, nothing ever happens between Carolina and Nico. Carolina just kind of carries a torch for Nico for the longest time. But Nico and Alex definitely have a on again, off again sort of relationship throughout the comic until Alex's demise. And it looks like, I mean, it seemed like the show was going in that direction in, you know, the earlier episodes. We saw Nico and Alex get pretty hot and heavy really quickly, but it looks like Nico's changing her mind. I don't know how much of this is because she genuinely likes Carolina versus her just being still genuinely angry at Alex and knowing that this is kind of a way to rebel against him and her feelings for him. We'll see. I mean, she's still a teenager, but, you know, she gets to, basically, she has options. She's the only girl in the group who really has options as far as, you know, you can go with this or you can go with that. Yeah, outside of that, there really wasn't too much in this episode. I have to say that for a finale, it's kind of kept things pretty low-key. You know, I mean, I kind of expected to be more culmination points, but really the biggest reveal we got was just the parents really clearing the air with all the secrets they were hiding. Oh, and also coming back to what I said in the beginning of this video, that potentially Jonah might be doing a body swap. I still think that's a relevant possibility, or he could be thinking of sacrificing Frank to save Victor. But I don't know. I feel like we're gonna... My gut tells me my theory is right. I think, especially seeing that, you know, the old milquetoast skin's coming back again, Mr. Flaky's on the rise. I think the body that Jonah is in is over it. I think it can only be renewed so much, and it's getting to the point now where, because remember, he seemed to think that the last sacrifice would have been enough to keep him going for quite a while, but he's already flaking up. I'm sure some of that has to do with the fight he had with Carolina, but still, you know, the body apparently is not keeping up anymore the way it used to. So I think he's looking to jump bodies with someone who's significantly younger than he is. So again, things we're just gonna have to wait to see till next season. There was a little bit of teen drama in there, you know, with Gert almost leaving Old Lace, but we all knew that she can't just leave Old Lace. You know, it's not safe to leave a prehistoric animal roaming around in California. That just wasn't gonna be a good idea. And then, of course, the Chase Gert stuff. I mean, they didn't really touch on it too much in this episode. Again, kind of bothering me because since last week was just so rushed, you know, which I still maintain it felt very rushed. It just felt like the fact that we didn't get to see a conversation between the two of them in this episode was a little bit disappointing because I feel like there was room for it. We had time. But that was pretty much the episode. Like I said, it was pretty low-key. Not one of my favorites of the season, but still really good. And I think it definitely left enough of an appetite for me to want to tune in next season and see what these kids are going to do now that they are wanted. Now that they're in connection, like that part came from the comics. They are now wanted in connection with Destiny's death. And the kidnapping of Molly is new, but it is a great way. I mean, as soon as there's kidnapping, you know, of a minor, that kind of turns the stakes up a little bit. So we'll see. Now they're kind of forced. Now they can't leave town because their faces are plastered everywhere. Trying to buy a bus ticket's not going to work. They can't fly anywhere. They try to cross state lines. You know, you get how it goes. They're now going to be at least confined to staying in California, which pushes us into season 2 and where they're going to have to be able to find refuge in the meantime. I think that's where we're going to start season 2. I'm eager to see how the kids are going to handle living on their own with no perks, no rich kid luxuries, and most importantly, staying under the radar and not getting caught by the cops who are now looking for them, including their parents and Jonah. So I'd say if I was to rate this season, I would give it an A. It was really good, considering it was a low budget streaming show that isn't necessarily directly related to the MCU completely. I think they did a great job with it. I thought it brought some good drama. I think the characters were all engaging, and I really liked the special effects we did see. They used their budget wisely, and it was good. I'm hooked. I liked it, and I am looking forward to season 2. So good job. What did you guys think? Do you feel like this was the wrap up that you needed for this season, or are you kind of left thinking that they could have done just a little bit better? Also, what are you most looking forward to seeing in season 2? I'd really like to see what you guys are thinking. Please put that down below in the comments. You know I love to read them and get in that conversation with y'all. And if you like this video, guys, go ahead and click like. And if you want to see more from this geeky face, please go ahead and click subscribe. Until next time, see